I died in the deep sea, and what I saw will change everything you believe. This life-changing experience completely transformed my understanding of our purpose here on earth. In a beautiful heaven, I met Jesus face to face in his incredible workshop. He showed me my entire life as molten metal in a great heavenly crucible. The truth he revealed about our struggles and purpose here is simply incredible. Stay until the end to hear what Jesus told me about your divine destiny. My name is Marcus Thorne, a deep sea welder working in the abyss, and on November 7th, 2023, I died. My job was a life of extremes, but truthfully, I was running from the pressures of being a present husband and father. While working 600 feet deep, a catastrophic failure in the life support system triggered a sudden, uncontrolled depressurization event. The nitrogen in my blood boiled, feeling like every cell was simultaneously exploding and being crushed into absolute nothingness. The agony vanished instantly, replaced by a profound warmth and the feeling of being completely free from all chaos and pain. I found myself standing in a great foundry humming with purpose, filled with colossal forges and a profound soul-deep warmth. Marcus, the voice was not just heard with ears, but felt in the very substance of my new existence. It was the authority of the roaring flames and the tenderness of the gentle heat. It was the unyielding strength of the anvil and the precise artistry of the hammer. I turned and he was there, Jesus. He was not the placid, gentle figure from the stained glass windows of my childhood church. He was the master of this foundry. His eyes held the light of a billion stars, and his hands, strong and calloused, looked as if they had shaped the mountains themselves. He wore a simple, heavy leather apron over a tunic of brilliant white, and his presence radiated a love so potent it felt like the very force that held creation together. I have brought you here, he said, his voice the perfect rhythm of the forge, to show you the nature of your own soul, to show you what you have been forging in the fires of your life. He led me not to a screen or a window, but to a great stone crucible, resting in the center of the foundry. Inside it, a mass of metal glowed with an inner light. It was my life, my very essence, molten and waiting. Every soul is a crucible, Jesus explained, his gaze fixed on the glowing liquid, and every life is a process of refining what is within it. Watch. The scene shifted. I was not watching a memory, but experiencing its spiritual reality. I saw myself a year prior coming home after a long stint offshore. I was tired, irritable. Sarah tried to talk to me about a problem Leo was having at school. I waved her off, snapping that I had my own pressures to deal with. As the harsh words left my mouth in the memory, I saw a handful of dark, gritty slag, cold and ugly, being tossed into the glowing crucible. The molten light of my soul hissed and sputtered. The purity was contaminated. Anger, selfishness, pride, Jesus said, pointing to the dark specks now swirling in the liquid light. These are the impurities. They are the dross. They make the final casting brittle, weak, unable to fulfill its purpose. Then he showed me another moment. It was a few months before my death. My father, a man from whom I had been estranged for over a decade, had fallen ill. I struggled for weeks, my pride fighting against the pull of my heart. Finally, I went to his bedside. I didn't say much. I just held his hand and said, "I forgive you, Dad, and I'm sorry." In the foundry, as I relived this moment, a ladle of what looked like pure liquid sunlight was poured into the crucible. The effect was immediate and astonishing. The liquid fire of my soul roared, intensifying to a brilliant white-hot. The impurities, the dark specks of slag, began to burn away, rising to the surface as a foul black foam. Jesus then took a great skimmer and effortlessly scraped the dross from the surface, casting it into a pit where it was consumed and vanished. The metal in the crucible glowed brighter, purer than before. Do you see? Jesus asked, his eyes filled with a holy fire, forgiveness, sacrifice, love. These are the fluxes of the soul. They are the agents of purification. They do not merely add to the metal. They refine it, burning away what is worthless and strengthening what is true. The world tells you that your power is in your anger, your ambition, your righteous indignation. That is a lie from the pit. It is the fire of the world, and it only creates more slag. My fire, the fire of unconditional love, is the only fire that purifies. He then showed me my job. I saw myself in the abyss, the welding torch in my hand. You thought the pressure was the enemy, Jesus said. You thought the fire was just a tool. But look, he showed me the spiritual dimension of my work. The immense pressure of the deep was not just a physical force. It was a constant spiritual forge designed to shape me. And the fire of my torch, when I worked with diligence and honor to provide for my family, was a reflection of the divine fire. It was refining me, teaching me focus and discipline. But then he showed me the moments I used my job as an escape. In those moments, the heat became a scorching, damaging force, and the pressure became a crushing weight, introducing microfractures into the very structure of my soul. The same fire that forges and refines can also warp and destroy, Jesus explained. The difference is the intention of the heart. Is the heat used in service of love or in service of self? My heart broke as I saw the full picture. I saw so many opportunities I had missed. Small chances to show kindness, to listen, to be present for Sarah and Leo. Each one was a missed application of the purifying flame, a moment the slag was allowed to cool and harden within me. I saw my love for my family as the primary, most potent source of heat I had been given, and how often I had let that fire bank low, choosing instead the cold isolation of the deep sea or the fleeting heat of my own pride. Then Jesus gestured towards the crucible, now glowing with a steady, pure light. The refining is not the end, Marcus, it is the means. All this fire, all this pressure, all this purification, it is to prepare the metal for the casting. It is for a purpose. He reached into the searing light of a nearby forge with his bare hand and pulled out a mold. It was intricate and beautiful, in the shape of a key. This is what your life is meant to cast, he said, holding the mold before me. A key forged from your unique experiences, your struggles, your victories, your love. A key only you can make. A key for what? I whispered, my entire being filled with awe. A key to unlock a door for your son, Leo, Jesus replied. He has a great work to do on earth, a purpose that will bring light to many, but the door to that purpose can only be opened by a father's love, forged in the crucible of a life fully lived. He needs to see not just your strength, but your repentance, not just your provision, but your presence. The key is not yet finished. It requires more heat, more refinement, more love. I looked at the molten light in my crucible, then at the mold for the key, and I understood my death was not a punishment. My life was not a random series of events. It was a foundry. I was a work in progress, being forged by a master craftsman for a purpose far greater than I could ever have imagined. The choice was clear. I had to go back. I had to embrace the fire, not run from it. I had to finish my key. Tell them, Marcus, Jesus commanded, his voice echoing with the finality of a hammer's blow on finished steel. Tell them that their lives are not accidents. Tell them that their pain, Their struggles, their joys are the heat and pressure of my forge. Tell them not to fear the fire, for I am the master of the foundry. Tell them to embrace the process, to add the flux of love and forgiveness so I can burn away the dross. Every soul is being forged for a purpose, to become a vessel, a weapon, a key. Tell them the master is waiting to complete his work. With those words, the warmth and the light of the foundry receded. I felt a sudden, violent lurch, a feeling of being poured, then an explosion of cold pain and deafening sound. I was back in the darkness of the sea, but I was being pulled upwards. I heard the panicked, garbled voices of my teammates over the comms. But I knew the truth. I had been to the foundry. I had met the master. My life is different now. I never went back to the deep. The pressure I now embrace is the weight of my son's head on my shoulder as we read a book. The fire I now tend is the one in my own hearth and the one in my heart for my wife. My life is still a forge, often filled with the heat of challenges and the hammer blows of difficulty, but I no longer fear it. I no longer run from it. I know that with every act of patience, every moment of presence, every whispered I love you, I am adding the purifying flux to the metal of my soul. I am helping the master forge his key, and I will share my story until my last breath, so that others might understand that they too are in the Master's foundry, being shaped by fire and love into something of eternal purpose and unimaginable beauty.